And moving on the docket, we are having an event that's taking place today, whereby the Republic of Kenya's Ministry of Information, Communication and Technology is going to have the government spokesman media briefing. The government spokesman, Colonel Cyrus Oguna, will hold a media briefing at the Government Media Center today. And the issues that are going to be addressed include a competency-based curriculum, the ban on second-hand vehicles, as well as that Huduma number.
Yes, and would like to hear what he has to say. Remember, the CBC is one that has been on the news for a while, and this is to do with the Professor Magoha, the CS for Education, saying that the competency-based curriculum is definitely going to be rolled out. However, we do have some stakeholders who say that they've not been involved, that we are not ready as a country, and of course that has continued. So I feel, or I see, that the government has seen a need through the spokesperson, Colonel Cyrus, to just let the country know where that is. The other, like you've mentioned, is also a question on second-hand spares. Yesterday you did have, businessmen, talking about what,
how the rules of importation are affecting their business, and they were saying that there's a disconnect between the standards in foreign countries such as China and Kenya. When they are allowed to export from China, they find it difficult to have those goods accepted in the country, and therefore they feel like the government of Kenya and the governments in other countries should work together to ensure that those standards are tally, so that there's no loss on their side. So this is just one of those incidences that might be in relation to that development.
Yes, another thing is going to be addressing is the Huduma number. We do know that it was extended. The deadline was extended, and the funny thing is, I don't know if you noticed, but there were memes already with the extension with GPO. Was it GPO? I think it was GPO that were completely emptied. But of course, we wait. Tomorrow is Friday, and the deadline is Saturday. Let's see whether the queues are going to be soaring like they were before, typical Kenyan style. But we do have the government spokesperson who's going to be talking about the Huduma number, and of course whether this is an ongoing exercise. There was that demystifying that needed to be done. People thought that once the deadline reaches that you cannot register anymore, but I think that not to be true. The truth being that the centers will be closed, but you can still register at the chief. But of course the government spokesperson is going to be addressing that at Telepost at 10 a.m. is the time to watch, and right here on KTN News, of course, we're going to keep you posted.
And perhaps you can hope for more clarity on this Huduma number and what happens if you miss the deadline, because judging from the lines and the fact that people did not show up, it means that people are otherwise engaged, and perhaps there is hope that this can be done even after that particular deadline.
All right. Now, the third item on the docket this morning is Semester, which is Center for Mathematics, Science and Technology, are going to be having a briefing, and the guest of honor is Professor Magoha, the CS for Education, and the agenda, the national conference addressing challenges of linking education to industry, impact of policies and programs, and measures to address the issue of skills mismatch. Of course, this has been a major problem.
It's been a major discussion in relation to that CBC. I mean, when we talk about education, we're talking about what we're giving our kids in schools vis-a-vis what they meet in the job market, and that feeds into the whole issue of unemployment. And we had CS Magoha talking about scrapping off certain courses in our tertiary institutions because they just do not match what is out there, and students are not even applying for them. And so when you look at such an issue, it's an extension of an ongoing discussion that has been going on in the various sectors that are involved.
Yes, and of course one of the things that the CBC, the competency-based curriculum, is supposed to address is that very need to match the skills and what is available in the job market. I remember we had this discussion, I believe it was on Tuesday, on Political Point, and one of the things that came out very clearly is that the current education system does not prepare the learner for the job market. And even when we look at it in terms of projecting it over time, what kind of jobs are going to be there in the next 15, 20 years? Are we learning and preparing the learner and the student to meet the job market? So this should be an interesting conference, and the guest of honor, as mentioned, is going to be the CS, Professor Magoha himself. off.
Okay, and moving on to our last bit of the docket, we are going to have a press conference by Safaricom CEO Bob Colimo today, and it's going to be at Radisson Blue Hotel in Upper Hill, and that's going to be interesting to see this CEO, what he has to say to the media and what new developments have occurred in Safaricom.
All right, so that's the docket.